we have with us Samson Koletkar. This gentleman has performed on CBS, NBC, NPR, and now IB. He likes to think that he is the world's only Jewish Indian stand-up comedian. So he'll believe it.
Hey everybody! You guys been good? Not so much. Okay. I like the enthusiasm. That's what got you to America. Very good job. I'll tell you guys a little bit about me, just make some space for myself. My name is Samson, and I recently auditioned for America's Got Talent. But, no, relax, hang on, I auditioned, I didn't make it. It's pretty much like your life right now, like, hey, I made it to America, what do you do there? Nothing. But when you go audition for a television show, you know, they give you a big, long form to fill up. One of the questions on that form was, what has been your biggest struggle in life? I was like, what has my struggles got to do with my comedy? Right, but look, I understand. It's a television show, so they want to play up the emotion factor and be like, oh, look at this poor kid from the third world on American television now. Vote for him, watch our show, we'll bring you more weirdos. I get it, okay? But when I looked at that question, what has been my biggest struggle in life? I wanted to put none. None, when I look at all these struggles that my parents have been through, right? Both my parents, born and raised in the third world, spent their entire life in the third world, raised a family. We were a family of 4 living in a 360 square feet apartment. My mom worked 2 jobs, my dad worked 2 jobs and put me through college, and then I came to America, where my biggest struggle is that I get depressed every time I post what I think is clever on Facebook and not enough people like it. Does that count? Apparently not. So instead of America's Got Talent, I'm here, okay. The other thing, after I was done with the audition, the judge, like one person in the room, gets to ask you questions. The question I got was, you have an accent. Does that make it hard for you to do comedy in America? And I was like, well, first of all, over 1 billion people in this world think you have an accent. And secondly, doing comedy in America has become so much easier ever since I developed what I like to call Indian Tourette's, in which every few minutes, for absolutely no reason whatsoever, I will yell out things like, "Slumdog Millionaire!" And then for absolutely no reason whatsoever, some people laugh. And the show just moves along. Right, it's that easy. You know, I still remember my first day in America. The very first day I'm talking to this person, 10 minutes into the conversation, this person says to me, oh, for someone coming from India, your English is pretty good. And I was like, you obviously don't realize that India has the world's largest English-speaking population, right? Because look, there's about 1.2 billion Indians. Let's say half of them don't speak English. That's about 600 million Indians that speak English. The entire population of America is about 300 million. Let's say half of them don't speak English. So that's 150 60 million Americans that speak English. So for someone representing a quarter of India's English-speaking population, you aren't doing too bad yourself. So I was born in Bombay, Mumbai for the politically annoying, and I was raised Jewish, which means I get different reactions in different parts of the world. Right back in India, every time I told people I'm a Jew, I would usually hear this: Jew? Dude, we know just two Jews, the good Jew and the fun Jew. Which one are you? But here in America, I get a different set of questions. As an Indian Jew in America, the question I hear most often is, really? Are you really Jewish? I'm like, how am I supposed to prove it to you? Show you my turtleneck sweater without the turtleneck? Okay, some of you are laughing, the others have kids in their hands. I get it.
Yeah, it says CD here.
But there's so many questions. They're like, oh, you're Jewish? Are both your parents Jewish?
Okay, that's
No.
No.
My mom is a Christian and my dad is a Muslim, and they hated each other so much, decided to raise me Jewish. I now live in San Francisco with my wife, and my wife is Hindu, I am Jewish. I should name my firstborn Mahatma Moses. .com. Made a website. It is a mixed marriage now. A couple of years ago, my wife and I were expecting our first baby. It was around this time, right, 2 years ago. We were at the hospital. The doctor told us, your baby is due January 13th. And I turned to my wife and I said, if our baby is born a little early, it could celebrate its birthday and the new year together. And my wife said, and if our baby is born a little earlier, we will get a tax break for the entire year. So I said, that just goes to prove there's a little Jew in you now. I win. And during the whole pregnancy, no matter who we met, most people, everybody almost had this question for us. Everybody kept asking us, hey, do you know what's the sex of the baby? Have you found out the sex of the baby? What's the sex of the baby? And like, people, it's an Indian baby. It won't have any sex till it's married. But if you want to know the gender, right? If you want to know the gender, it's a girl.
But I'm not going to check the CD.
Which means it's definitely not having a... Okay, that's a joke. That's a joke. I know a lot of you guys flew in here from all over the country, right? A lot of visitors, travelers. Now, I also travel around a little bit. It's good because every time I travel, I have the opportunity to relive one of my favorite moments in America. Passing through the airport security. Because isn't it amazing how consistently random the security checks are? Right? And look, I understand it's all for the safety and security of all America and all Americans. So I have a suggestion. Why not have 2 lines of security checks at every American airport? 1 line for all Americans. They just walk in, no checking, nothing, just go. Because let's face it, Americans don't carry bombs on passenger planes. Right? They don't. They have special planes for that. So they just walk in, no check-in. The other line, for all immigrants. Looks like a terrorist, sounds like a terrorist, whatever it is, alright? Check us, check me for knives, guns, bombs, drugs. I am okay going through that separate line of security check at every American airport.
And the other one stayed for a while.
But let's make America safer and also put 2 lines of security checks at every American school. 1 line for all immigrant kids. They just walk in, no checking, nothing, just go. Smart audience. I didn't need to finish my joke, you got the point. Saved 30 seconds. I also recently did a show in a little city called Danville, a suburb of San Francisco, and here's what happened, okay? The gig didn't go over too well, because apparently all my stuff rubbed them the wrong way. Which is okay, because look, I should have known it's not going to be the best gig of my life. There were a few signs. For example, I was performing for a fundraiser for the Wheelchair Foundation at a venue that was not wheelchair accessible. And while I was waiting for my turn to go up and perform, this lady walks up to me and this is exactly what she says. You know, we've been talking at a table and wondering, are you a terrorist? Haha, just kidding. I'm like, how am I supposed to respond to that question? Because no one has ever asked me that question before, you know what I mean? Never happened. And look, if I was American, I would have gotten offended. But I am Indian, so what I said was, hey. That's it. And you know, right, when an Indian looks at you and goes, hey, what he's really thinking is, stupid American. And see again, I appreciate you guys got the joke. Because I told that joke at another show recently, and there was this drunk lady up front. The only thing she heard out of that entire story was 2 words. Stupid American. And then she turns to her friends and she goes, did you say stupid American? Did you say stupid American? Her voice just getting louder and higher and louder and higher. In the middle of the show, she's sitting right up front, I'm up on stage, she's just yelling. So I turned to her and I said, hey. And you know how you always have this idea of what you could have said and what you should have done? But we always look back and think about it. Now when I look back at the whole Danville incident, I realize what I should have said when that lady asked me if I was a terrorist. I should have said, shh. Do you know what time it is? And then no matter what time she said, I could have yelled out, oh no! And run the hell out of there. Right, come back a few minutes later, haha, just kidding. That would have sucked, right? I live here now, I've been living here in America for a while. I still love Indian food, my favorite food in the world. Indian restaurants, not so much. Because you know, there are some things you will hardly ever find at an Indian restaurant. Things like customer service. And some of you have been there. I'll give you an example. The other night, I was at this Indian restaurant, 9:45 p.m. The waiter comes over and tells me, sir, 15 minutes to closing. Is there anything else I can get you? And I said, yes. Can I get a chai? This is what that waiter tells me. Sorry, sir. The chai is over. I'm like, dude, I'm sitting in your restaurant, ordering something from your menu. You have a kitchen back there. Go and make some chai for me. Don't tell me chai is over. Can you imagine if I do that back to them, walk up to their cash counter? How much? 30? Here's 25. Sorry, money's over. Doesn't work. I still love Indian food though, favorite food. American food, not so much. Because every time my friends take me to some American restaurant and I have to order American food, things like boiled corn, mashed potatoes. What's the first thing we do? Put some salt and pepper. Right? That's our savior, salt and pepper. Which is why I really pity all those countries that are struck with natural disasters, like tsunamis and earthquakes. As if it's not bad enough that people have lost their families and their homes, America goes and makes food drops. As if to say, oh, you think your life sucks? Here, eat some boiled potatoes. Maybe that will help put things in perspective.
That's absolutely fine.
And which is where I believe India has a good chance to build some public relations. Every place we see America making food drops, India should fly behind, drop some salt and pepper. Now, I'll leave you guys on this last note. I recently told this joke at another all-Indian audience, an Indian show, and there was this auntie sitting up front. She immediately gets up and goes, "You should also throw some pickle." And I was like, what am I, Continental Airlines? It's like, oh, what do you want, salt and pepper? Here you go. What do you want, pickle? Here you go. What do you want, chutney? Sorry, chutney's over. Alright guys, that's been my time. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of the